Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for today's coffee chat with our new CEO, Craig Leonard. My name is Migdalia Gomez. I'm our Community Engagement Manager here at the Harvard University Employees Credit Union, and I will be the moderator for today's questions. So before we get started, I wanted to introduce you to Craig Leonard, and Craig will be sharing his webcam so that you can see him. And I'll tell you a little bit about Craig before we get started with the questions that you submitted. Craig brings 30 years of banking industry experience to his new role as HUECU's President and Chief Executive Officer. Craig graduated from Bentley University with a degree in finance, was one of the youngest bank treasurers in the state of Massachusetts, has served as the Vice President and Controller for the largest community chartered credit union in New England, and has helped run the third largest credit union in Rhode Island. Craig joined HUECU in 2010 as our Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer, and has helped guide the institution to be one of the fastest and best performing credit unions, not only in our region, but nationwide. Craig became HUECU's President and Chief Executive Officer in July. Craig is a lifelong resident of Massachusetts and resides on the South Shore with his wife and 4 children. Please join me in welcoming Craig virtually into this coffee chat with Craig. Welcome, Craig.
Hi, Meg.
So how's today's webinar going to work? Well, today's webinar is going to be a little bit different from prior webinars that we have done for those that you have joined, in which today's webinar, the content is 100% based off of you, our members. So what we did is with the invite, we asked you, what questions do you have for Craig? We have put together those questions, and that's what's going to happen. Craig is going to essentially answer those questions live today. We have gone ahead and muted everyone. It's just a little bit easier to not have that background noise. So you can focus on listening to Craig. And if you're having lunch or maybe you're at home or in a loud environment, you don't have to worry about that being disruptive. We are going to use the questions feature. So even though you have already submitted questions, if you have a new one that comes up, feel free to use that questions panel. How does it work? To make sure that it's working, we want to know how long have you been a member and where are you joining us from? So using the chat feature, which is going to be located either on the right-hand side navigation or on the top, will depend on what platform you utilize. If you're joining via mobile or a tablet, it might be at the bottom. There's a questions panel. So please let us know how long have you been an HUECU member and where are you joining us from? By submitting those questions, it will help us know that you can hear us, and also will help us so that we can be able to see any questions that you might have later. Okay, I see some questions coming in. More than 20 years, thank you. Living in Cambridge, about 2 years in Chicago due to the pandemic, south of Boston, joined this year, 8 years from Arlington, 87. I think the person from 87 is winning thus far. Wonderful, 31 years.
Perfect.
18, wow. So thank you so much for being members, for being with us for so long. For those of you that are just becoming members this past year or recently, thank you so much for being a member. This is a virtual coffee chat. The pandemic does not allow us to have coffee together, but we are going to have a raffle in which 5 of you will be able to get virtual coffee gift certificates, which we will email it to you. So we'll select those of you randomly from our attendees. And you will get an email with today's recording. So that's all that I'm going to say. Now I'm going to turn it over to Craig, and we're going to start asking him some of those questions.
All right, fantastic. And thanks everyone for participating today.
Okay, Craig, the first question, what gets you up in the morning?
To be honest with you, so I have 4 children and 23, 22, and then I have 2 younger boys, both 11 and 9. And my 2 younger boys are actually autistic. And my 9-year-old does not sleep at all. It's very common for him to be up at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. So I'm usually up with him very early in the morning. And when he does me the favor of sleeping in, we've got this large chocolate lab who 6 o'clock every morning on the nose comes and wakes me up. So I am up early every day, not typically by choice. But from a work perspective, you know, I've been doing this for nearly 30 years now, and thrilled to be here now a decade, you know, at HUECU, and just an outstanding organization, and certainly thrilled when the board gave me the nod to kind of lead the organization into its next chapter. You know, my goal here is to build just an outstanding organization. And that's for the benefit of the members, that's for the benefit of all of our staff here and all the communities that we serve. So that kind of gets me going each and every day to make that organization better for all of you each and every day.
Thank you, Craig. And as we're asking some of the questions, be mindful for those of you that are asking questions. We have Sarah Scruggs, our community engagement specialist, and Tom Montilli, our Chief Executive Officer, who are also available to help answer some of the questions via chat that are coming in. The next question that we have for you, Craig, is what new business lines and or growth areas do you see for HUECU?
Yeah, you know, we offer a tremendous amount of products and services today, and I think from a growth standpoint, I'm really optimistic about the prospects for the credit union. We've done a phenomenal job in terms of our mortgage lending portfolio, and I think an area of growth for that is to expand the types of offerings we do currently within our mortgage portfolio, and we're also looking to expand our geographic region around mortgages. So many of our alumni, for example, you know, they come to school and they go back to different states, and in many cases we can't help them from a mortgage perspective, but we are looking at how we may be able to do that in the future, and I think that's an exciting opportunity for us. The medical community, which is part of our membership too, has real prospects for growth. We've been working recently with administrators over there to come forward with a couple new exciting lending products. And lastly, on the deposit side, we're revamping some of our checking products that I think will be really interesting for our membership. Right now, with interest rates so low, it's hard to get a decent return on your funds. We're coming out with a new product that'll kind of counter that and give you a better return than most other institutions in the marketplace. So I think there's tremendous opportunities for growth within our organization, and I think you'll see some new and exciting products coming down over the next 12 months or so.
Thank you, Craig. Next question. What is the key to credit union success in the future?
Yeah, this is a tough one. You know, I think for us it all starts and ends with our membership. You know, for us it's making sure that one, we understand who our members are, what the needs of our members are, and to be an organization that can respond quickly to solving those or creating solutions to what our members' needs are. The other thing that we're really keeping an eye on and really focusing our efforts towards is how do we make the member experience that much better for you by reducing friction. You know, one of the things that I'm talking regularly with our team about these days is, you know what, everybody has so much stress in their lives, and more than any time in our lives, probably now with the pandemic. You know, I'm at home with my family who's doing remote learning, and each day seems to be an adventure. It's chaos in the Leonard household for sure. The stress that people have at home doesn't need to be the stress that when you interact with us as an organization. So what we're going to try to do as we move forward is to remove that friction, create a stress-free environment with us. And I think the way that you interact with us will be one of the keys to our success going forward.
What changes do you have planned for HUECU?
Well, you know, one of the benefits of me being here for the last decade is that, you know, I've had a real hand in shaping the organization as it looks today, and the foundation that we have is terrific. We made some substantial changes to our technology back in 2019 to really give us a better platform that we can build new technologies on top of that to really make that member experience that much better in the future. So as I talked almost on the prior question, it really has to do first and foremost of making sure that experience that you're having with us is as frictionless as possible. So that's first and foremost that we're doing over the next 12 months. We've actually kind of been a little bit ahead of the curve in terms of that standpoint. Now, the pandemic threw everyone for a loop, but we had been planning even before this crisis of moving our delivery, if you will, to be more technology based. We're in the process, and we've already started this process of moving towards things like contactless cards. Those will be delivered in the first quarter of next year. But it's really this move now to improve the overall member experience that you have will be a key focus for the institution.
What new member programs have been developed to mitigate the effects of COVID-19?
Yeah, COVID's been tough for a lot of people. A lot of our members have called us, back in March when things went, certainly crazy for everyone in terms of, how can you help us out? Borrowers in particular. So we came forward right away with a number of solutions to help. If you have a credit card or an auto loan with us, we offered a skip a payment where you could do, skip payments for a month all the way up to 90 days. If you had a student loan or a mortgage with us, we offered forbearance programs that could give you an immediate 90 days of relief. Even after that 90 days, we also realized that, a lot of people's situations have not changed. And so we were extending those forbearance programs in excess of those 90 days for an additional time period. We've lowered our rates on consumer loans that would help people improve their cash flows. We took our personal loan rates and essentially slashed them in half, really with the focus of how can we help our members, move through this challenging time. And so we've done a number of things on the lending side. We've reduced or shut down fees that would be assessed. So an ATM that, in the past you might come on campus and use, we know you're not coming on campus anymore. So any type of foreign ATM fee, we shut those down, and those will be shut down until further notice, until things stabilize. So we're trying to do as many things with the member at top of mind. We're all in this together, and I think that's one of the real benefits of our organization is that it's members helping members, and that's what we've always been about, and that's what we'll continue to be about. Our mission from that standpoint won't change whatsoever. And then finally, on the deposit side, which I didn't touch upon, which is we continue to evaluate the pricing of our deposits and the rates that we're offering, and we offer the best rates in our marketplace. We look at those on a weekly basis, and we're really proud to make sure that we're offering you the best returns that we possibly can do in the marketplace. So like I said, we're all in this together, and we'll continue to be here and support you through this process and through this really tough, challenging time.
Thank you, Craig. And I will remind folks, if you have any additional questions for Craig, feel free to use the questions panel, and Sarah Scruggs at a later point will open it up to answer some of those questions. So moving on additional questions that were submitted prior to today's webinar. The next one being, how has COVID-19 impacted your strategy for the future of HUECU?
It's definitely had some impact to our strategy. Like I had mentioned before, where we were a little bit ahead from our thoughts in terms of move us along that kind of technology path. We had already planned to make investments, and had already made investments rather in improving our technology. Things that we have in place, like I said, that'll be moved in motion. The beginning of next year will be this reissuance of all of our cards to contactless, for example. Moving forward with the member experience is still going to proceed. You know, one of the challenges that we have that might impact our strategy a little bit is, you know, we've, like lots of you, if not all of you, we've moved to a remote environment. And that's created some challenges just from a collaboration standpoint. And we're learning, like most organizations, how to adapt through this changing remote environment. So that's been more of a challenge than certainly we would have thought. You know, and then there's the macro effects that we have to keep our eye on. You know, there was a height of 30 million people who lost their jobs at one point. That number certainly has come down, but we still have a lot of members who are struggling through this. And so part of our strategy is to continue to invest in technology, invest and continue to grow the organization, but also be mindful of the macro effects that are out there. So we're doing the best. The company is extremely healthy from a financial standpoint. As Migdalia mentioned when she first came in and kind of did my bio, the organization for years now has been one of the top performing organizations, certainly here in the region and both from a national perspective. And that hasn't changed through the first half of this year and almost now through three quarters. The institution continues to perform exceptionally well during some really, really challenging times. And I think that's a testament to the entire organization, the staff and the board that we have here at the credit union. They've just done a wonderful job.
When will HUECU have more ATMs on campus?
Well, we will be having one shortly over at the brand new C's building once that opens. You know, we've got an ATM that's planned to go in there. It's been approved by the university. We're just kind of waiting for the final thumbs up of when we can install it. The way that this kind of typically works here is a lot of times the university will approach us if there's a need on campus for another ATM or if we hear it from our members. So, you know, for those members who are out there, if you feel that there's a gap in our ATM deployment on campus, by all means, shoot me an email. If anything, I am very accessible and transparent, and I want to hear how we can make the organization better for you. I think the other thing that you'll probably see over the next couple of years around our ATM fleet on campus is refurbishing our machines or upgrading our machines rather. You know, a number of them are kind of getting to the end of their useful life, and so we'll be making more investments in new technology and upgrading the machines that we do have on campus.
Thank you, Craig. We have two more questions before we open it up for the member questions that were submitted during the webinar. The second to last question that was submitted prior to the webinar starting is, how are you planning to enhance your offerings to international members?
Yeah, our international members are incredibly important to us, and you know, the last 5 to 7 years with me here at the credit union, I've spent a lot of time working with our student loan borrowers in particular, and those who are located internationally. And the one thing that I hear regularly from that membership is around payments, you know, and remitting payments from their home countries here to the credit union or here into the United States can be problematic. You know, it's one of the things I really want to focus and look for better solutions for that audience. You know, the old days of always just doing international wire, which is still the case today largely as an option, can be slow, it can be expensive, and quite frankly, it can be a pain. There are some better providers out there. We're looking to partner a little bit more with some fintechs. TransferWise is one that we use regularly with some international borrowers today. There's some other players out there. We use Western Solutions Systems as an option, and there's a few others out there in the space. You know, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to partner with some other companies out there, but really to improve the speed and the cost to you as members who are located overseas to remit funds that much easier, because I know that really is a pain point for many of you. And if there are gaps in our offerings that you think we're totally missing the boat, by all means, I want you to email me. And my email is easy. It's just Craig_Leonard@harvard.edu, and that goes for all of our members. If you think, let me know how we're doing, the good and the bad. I want to learn and really move the organization forward. And a lot of that is getting feedback from you.
The last question that we have that I will be asking, before I get into this question, I do want to clarify, we had many questions that were submitted. What we did today was we took sort of the 9 that spoke about a lot of different themes, but there were other additional questions that were submitted, so we just took the 9 that spoke to different areas that members had questions. But the last one for now, before we turn it over to Sarah Scruggs, our community engagement specialist, to ask member submitted questions during the webinar, is how do you plan to promote financial wellness in the community?
Yeah, I'm going to probably pick on you a little bit for this one too, Migdalia, because for a lot of those folks who are probably listening, they don't understand or realize that you're in charge of our financial wellness program within the credit union, and you and Sarah do just an unbelievable job. One of the things that we say a lot for marketing is that the way you interact with the credit union, that we are more of a benefit than a bank, and I think that is illustrated best by how we do our financial literacy programs. I know we do financial literacy programs regularly on all sorts of topics. We're always being asked by the university or folks over in the medical community if Migdalia or Sarah is willing to do different financial literacy classes. It's amazing to me that we use money every day of our lives. However, we're never really taught how to be financially literate growing up, and there's this huge gap that's been here in our country for years and years and years. You learn it sometimes by trial and error. You learn it from your parents or other relatives, and so what we're trying to do is try to fill that really educational gap. So Migdalia, not to put you on the spot, but any idea off the top of your head how many financial literacy classes you may have conducted this year?
We are a little bit close to 100. I know we have helped over 2,000 members within the community thus far, and we have many more that are still scheduled for the end of the year.
Yeah, and it's unbelievable. I know your sessions are always packed. The topics are diverse. Anything from improving your credit score to budgeting to identity theft. I know you did one just a week or so ago on fraud, which was exceptionally well attended. And quite frankly, it's a big topic right now. There's a lot of online fraud that's going on since this pandemic. So we're always listening, but it's completely free to our membership. And I think it's a real value add that the credit union offers. Really proud of it. So Migdalia and Sarah, thank you for all your efforts that you're doing in that space.
Thank you, Craig, and thank you everyone for attending those presentations. And just to echo what Craig said, we at the credit union really do listen to our membership. Many of our topics have come from requests from our members. So if you have any suggestions for topics that you would want us to present webinars or have additional information on our blog or videos, as always, feel free to reach out to us. You could even drop them in the questions panel today, and we always look at those. And with that, I'm going to turn it over now to Sarah Scruggs, our community engagement specialist, who will ask Craig some of the questions that have come in during today's webinar.
Thank you, Migdalia. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for submitting questions. And I do want to emphasize we may not be able to get to all of them, but we definitely will get back to you about them, and we want to make sure that you know that. So the first one, Craig, is, will the credit union ever offer investment banking services?
The short answer is, I think so. Yeah, we've talked about that for a number of years. We're going to be going into a strategic planning session over the next month or two, and I know that has been something that we've discussed a little bit over the last couple of years. I think there's a need there. There's partners that we've been talking with recently in terms of what type of services they might be able to offer to the membership. We want to make sure whoever we partner with makes the most sense for you as members. When you go down a road like this, nothing means more than that than having that level of trust. You have faith and trust within the credit union. We want to make sure we extend that with any type of partnership that we have. But I do think that there's probably a need out there and a strong likelihood that we will implement some type of investment services in the future.
Great. Another question is, how can members help the credit union?
It's a great question. Use our services, check us out. A lot of you might have started your relationship with the credit union with one product. And now, not to say you have forgotten about us, but, I think when you're looking for that new car and you're searching for auto loans, take a look at our rates. I think you'll find that they're very attractive. If you're shopping for that mortgage, again, our rates are fantastic. We get high marks regularly with our mortgage team. So we're really proud of the products and services that we do offer. And the more that you use us, like any organization, we need to grow to be successful, and we take that growth and we put it back into products and services for our membership. So the more that you can support us and help us, the more that we can kind of continue to give back again to the membership and to the communities we serve. So, and again, and if you check us out and there's something that you don't like or see, if you think there's a gap in our offerings, shoot me an email. My hope, and I know the hope of the entire management team, is to continue to promote and grow the organization, and having that feedback from the membership is key.
Absolutely. Another question came in is, where do you see interest rates going in the next few years?
Yeah, I get that one a lot, actually. The Federal Reserve came out just a short while ago, within the last couple of weeks, and they've really indicated that they're not going to do anything from an intervention standpoint, probably for about 3 years. So I really think interest rates will be in this real low rate environment, probably for the next few years at least. It's going to take us some time to dig out of this financial mess that the pandemic has created. That's not going to be solved overnight, and there's a lot of businesses that will never open up their doors again. So it's going to be a struggle. So I think for those of you who are looking to borrow over the next couple of years, I think you'll be really happy where rates are. And for those of you who are savers, it's tough. Interest rates have come down since March of this year. A lot of institutions have lowered their rates. It's one thing, again, that we're exceptionally mindful of. And we try to be, mindful both of our borrowers and our savers. It's part of the structure that we have that allows us to be a little different as a credit union, as a not-for-profit organization, in that we have some more flexibility from a rate setting standpoint. So it allows us to provide better rates on our lending side, and also better rates for our savers. So it's part of our mission. We take it very serious, and so rates will probably be here for a little bit of time. So kind of what you see is what you get. I think that's probably going to be the case for the next few years.
Thank you, Craig. Another question, and I think this is really relevant to a lot of the things you've been speaking about today with partnerships and kind of outside entities. A lot of people are wondering, will HUECU be implementing Zelle?
Zelle is important to us. I think payments in general are important to us. Having a successful P2P type of solution is key. And we've already started talking to our partners about the implementation of Zelle. And I think that's something, it's definitely on our roadmap. It's on our short-term roadmap. In fact, I've got another conversation with our key partner regarding it later this afternoon. So I think we're committed to implementing Zelle. We've got the partner lined up, and now it's just about getting it implemented and rolled out to our membership. But Zelle will be coming.
Thank you, Craig. It is now 12:30, so I'm going to hand it over to Migdalia to wrap us up. If we did not get to your question, we are going to get back to you after the webinar is over. So I want to make sure that we do get to those questions eventually, but also want to respect your time. So I'll hand it right back over to Migdalia to finish us up.
Thank you, Sarah. And I just want to thank Craig for being so open to this idea of coffee chat with Craig. And it's something that we hope we'll continue to do for the upcoming months and years. And I will actually do something that I'm excited to do. I'm sort of put Craig on the spot. Is Craig, I'm going to put it on. Have you close off the webinar? Any last thoughts?
First, thanks for doing this. I really appreciate it. When you first threw this idea out to me, I'm like, oh man, what is marketing getting me involved in? And I enjoy these things. I really do. And like I said, you know, a few times through this you know, quick half hour that we had together, you know, we're here for you as members. The more that we kind of communicate and know what we're doing well and know what we need to improve upon is going to be key to our success. So like I said, email me your comments. It's the way that we're going to get better. It's Craig_Leonard@harvard.edu. You know, that's right to me. So don't hesitate. I want to hear from you. And, you know, we're committed as an entire team to make this organization be as best as it possibly can be for you. So thank you again.
Thank you, everyone. Hope you have a wonderful weekend.